Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or if in fact it is your first time here, thank you for joining me. I appreciate everyone who's watching this video. I love knowing that someone is getting something out of this stuff that I put out. So today's video is a replay of Feel Good Friday, which is a live video I do every single Friday, would you believe, over on my Facebook page, which I'll just pop up here. And the topic today is how to turn your New Year's resolutions or goals into actions. And the reason why that's the topic is that if you don't make actions out of your goals and then you don't do them, you won't reach your goals. Common sense, right? This video was broadcast live on Friday, let me check the date, 12th of January, and I've just done it, so I'm doing the intro right now, and you will find it is very, very useful. So if you think you need some of this in your life, then just keep watching. Hey everyone, good morning. It is Friday, that means it's Feel Good Friday, and today we are talking about how to turn your goals into actions that will take you to those goals. How to get you to the point where you've achieved your goals as easily as possible. Now, last week I did a video all about how to set goals, to turn your New Year's resolutions into goals, and that was really quite in depth for a 20-minute video. And I also offered then a free worksheet, which I'll make sure there are links here for that as well. And I'll link the previous video here if you want to refer to that. And that was all about setting the goals, deciding what you want, how to make sure your goals are aligned with what you truly want and how you want to feel in the coming year. Now, if you're watching on the replay and it's not the new year, that's fine. You can still do this process. And if I mention the new year, that's fine. Just ignore that if you're not in the new year, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so if you hear anything interesting that I'm saying, or you have any comments or questions, then do please comment below. And either I will reply live here, or I will catch you on the whenever you're commenting. What am I trying to say? Comment if you're watching on the replay. I'll come back and talk to you. No worries. Okay, so that's why today we're going to be talking about the next step, which is included in the worksheet as a little section, and that's about turning those goals that you've spent all that time setting into making it so that you can achieve them. I'm just rambling. I'm going to stop doing that. Let's move on. If you are a follower of the law of attraction, you will notice that the word includes action, and that's why it's a crucial part of achieving your goals. So aligning with your heart and your desires is part of that, so that you've got the feeling behind it, and the other part is the inspired action. So that's why today we're looking at how to turn your goals into action. And in case I haven't met you yet, my name's Cindy Davis. I'm the Feel Good Coach, and I help people in their businesses. I help life coaches like me, I've been a life coach for many years, to create the business they want by a number of things really. Helping them with their mindset so that they can be clear to do all of this stuff. So why I share a lot of mindset stuff, because I think it's really, really important, but also with sales and marketing techniques that are that feel good and don't feel yucky. And so if that sounds like something you'd be interested to find out more about, then do get in touch and I'll be happy to have a chat with you. In the meantime, let's talk about what my aim is today, which is to show you how to make achieving your goals easier than not achieving them. Really, if you fully implement what I'm going to talk about today, it will be much more difficult for you to not achieve your goals, and it will be just a breeze to achieve them. Not saying you won't hit road bumps, speed bumps and things like that along the way, but you will have a plan that will really be child's play if you follow it. Okay, so the agenda today is, first of all, we're going to talk about defining what the actions are that are going to take you to your goal. So I'll give you a few tips on how to do that. In the second part, I'm going to talk about how to kind of work out the order they have to go in and all that, a little tip on that, because we need to know when they need to be done by in order for you to plan them. And then that's the next part really. In the third part, we're going to talk about how to make it happen. So I've got a really good tip for you there. So hang in till the end and make sure you get that tip. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Part 1, what are the actions? We need to define what needs to happen for that goal. So if you haven't already, go back and do the work in the last video. I'll make sure the link's here in the comments and in the description, and go back and do that bit first. So that's really, really important to get you set up for doing this next bit. So once you've got your goals, take one of them, maybe the most important one, or the one that's needs to be done soonest. Get that one and write it in the centre of a piece of paper. So what you're going to do is have a bit of a brainstorm. Now, there was a time when that wasn't a PC thing to say, but now I think they've decided it's okay to say, but I don't really know why. But we're going to have a little brainstorm. Get a piece of paper. It's best to do on paper. I know lots of people are into gadgets and iPads and things like that, but actually writing on a piece of paper with a pen makes it much easier to connect with your thought process. Unless maybe you've got like a stylus and you're writing on an iPad or something. But you actually need to physically write the words out with your hand in order to really get that sort of connection going with your thoughts. So you write the goal in the middle, and then you just start brainstorming the actions. You literally start throwing down anything you think of that needs to happen for you to get to that goal. And it might be tiny little things and it might be big things. So what I want you to do is actually, once you've written down everything you can think of, you might need to do some research as well. So there might be some bits of your goal that you don't actually know what actions need to happen in order for you to get there. So you might have to go and do some research. You might have to do a bit of Googling and see what you can find out about how to do whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Or you might need to ask somebody. You might need to give you some pointers on what they did, so that you can replicate the sort of actions that they did. So one of your actions would be to ask such and such a person, but you might need some training in order to be able to do it. So those are all things you need to think about. And if getting some training is part of it, then write that down as an action. So you need to write down every single thing you can think of and give yourself plenty of time. So sometimes you might kind of feel like you're at a bit of a blank. So maybe go away and think about something else, or put some music on, or do one of your other goals and come back to it. Because what you find is as soon as you put it away and start something else, you'll suddenly go, oh, actually, I need to add this onto my list. So it's about getting as many of the actions pinned down as you can. Now, one thing to note is that sometimes we write down something as an action when really it's a project. And a project is a number of actions in one. So, for instance, it might be update my website. Now, that might be just putting a new sentence on there, depending on whatever the goal you're going for. It might be just write a new sentence on there. Well, that's fine. That's one action. But it might be, update your website. It might be create a whole new page with all the images and words and things that go along with it, and links and stuff like that. And that's a project, because you can't do that in just one. Well, it's not just one action, it's a number of different actions. You might have to write the copy, so that's one action. Then you have to create the page. Then you have to upload the copy, so that's 3 actions already, and that's just the words. Then you've got to find an image, you've got to edit the image, maybe add some text to it. Then you've got to download it, then you've got to upload it. All of those things are separate actions. And the key to getting things done is breaking everything down into the smallest little actions that make it easy, so easy for you to get started. I've got other videos about that. I'll see if I can can't remember what it's called, but I'll see if I can grab the link and put it down below. Excuse me. But it's all about that principle, really, is break it down into a really small action, and that makes it so much easier for us to do it. Because believe you me, it's the easiest thing in the world to look at your to-do list and go, well, I don't know where to start, so I'm not going to do any of it. Who's done that? Let me know in the comments if you can identify with that, because I certainly know that I've done that numerous times. And the main reason that's happened is normally because the action is too big. It's too big and vague, or even if it's specific, it's still too big. It's not really an action at all, it's a project. So do make sure that everything on your plan, you've broken it down on your plan, on your brainstorm, your mind map, whatever you're doing, is broken down into the smallest actions. And that's the best way to do it. So that's part one. You have identified all your actions around this goal. Work on one goal at a time if you can. So you've got your actions. Now what do you do? Well, we're going to move on to section 2, which is all about when do they need to be done by. So if you've done any project work in the past, or if you've ever maybe built something at home or whatever, you know that things have to be done in a certain order. If you get an IKEA flat pack and you start trying to do the end thing first, it's never going to work. You have to do it in a certain order for it to work properly. And who's got to the end of a flat pack and realise they've missed a step and you have to go all the way back to redo it? It's a nightmare. So we need to get all of your actions in the right order so that you can do them in the most efficient way, and one leads to the next and so on, so that you have these incremental steps that easily take you to your goal. So the easiest way I know to do that is to start with the end in mind. So you've got your end goal, and then you've got to work your way back. You should know the end date of your goal. You'll need a calendar in front of you or on your phone so that you can work from that. And then you need to get all of your actions written out on post-it notes. This is the easiest way I know to do this stuff, because then you can move the post-it notes around. So you might need a big wall, and you put a piece of paper on the wall that says your end goal and your date, and you've got now at the other end, and you take your post-it notes and you put them on the wall in the order that you think, and then you can go through the steps logically. And if you get to a point when you're like, no, I need to have done this thing first, then you can swap them round and move them round. Using post-it notes is a really good tip for anything where you're not sure where things are going to fit until you've got the full picture. So that's my big tip for you, really. Get your post-it notes, write out all your... Now, you could do that in the first step. You could, when you're brainstorming all your actions, you could write them all on separate post-it notes. But I think what might happen is that might interrupt the flow. But give it a try if you think it'll work for you. Otherwise, write them all out on your post-it notes. And I think as well, with the doing the first step with the brainstorming on a piece of paper first, it's easier for you to be able to break down the actions. If you've ever done a mind map, you can have your actions that you've written down first, and then you might want to break some of them down because really they're projects, and you can do those as little spurs off it, and it'll work really easily. So you'll take all of those actions, shove them on post-it notes, put them in the best order, double check it, work through it in your mind. Okay, so if I do that, and then I do that, and I do that, and I do that, will it lead me to there? What's missing? Do I need to add anything? And all that kind of stuff. So that gives you a really good, whether you're visual or not, it gives you a really good logical layout for what you're trying to achieve. And then you've got your plan. So obviously you can't leave your post-it, well, maybe you can leave your post-its on the wall, but they might come unstuck, and someone might move them for a joke or whatever. So then again, you've got to take all of that back down and put it in something that you can keep. Maybe a spreadsheet to create a project plan in a spreadsheet. You might use project planning software, or you might just write it out in a notebook. The dates when all of your actions need to be done, all in order. So then you've got a plan. This is exactly the steps I need to take to achieve this thing I want to achieve. So that's part 2. Moving on to part 3, making those actions happen. The best way I know to do that is to have a default diary. And so what that means is you have a day, a certain time each week that you do certain tasks, and it's called also called batching. So for instance, I have Monday is for my in the morning is for review, and the afternoon is marketing, and it's kind of like a big chunk of afternoon and going into the evening. So Monday's my marketing day, and then I've got Tuesday and Wednesday are for my clients. So either working with my clients one-to-one, or creating extra bonus products for my clients, and doing anything else I've promised to do for them, researching stuff, whatever. So Tuesday and Wednesday's clients, Thursday's sales. So that is having sales conversations, or maybe meeting people for sales conversations, whatever that is. And then Friday morning, I go to Laptop Friday straight after this, which is networking. So I go to that, or if I'm not going to that, I might do some like an online training or something. And then sometimes I have Friday afternoon off. Sometimes I don't, depends what projects I've got going on. Friday afternoon is a sort of flexible time for me. So that's my default diary, or default diary. I never know how to say it. Let me know how you say it. If you can write it phonetically down below, that'd be great, because I cross between the two. So the point of having the default diary is that you can batch your tasks. So if you were looking at all of your projects, all of your goals that you want to achieve, you'll have some tasks that are similar. Or what you could do is you could batch working on certain goals at certain times. But the point of batching is that you can get yourself into the mindset of doing that particular work and just keep on doing that particular work. And that works a lot better for our brains. If we're flitting between, okay, I'm going to do a bit of emails, and then I'm going to do some of the work on my goal, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to tidy up my office, and then I'm going to do some accounts, then I'm going to do a bit of admin. If you're flitting between things like that, it really means that we can't get into a good state of flow with any of them, because we're just flitting between. So having a default diary means that you can actually put in time for your goals. So within my default diary, in those days I've got, I will then take the actions that I've got to achieve, that I want to achieve, and I will put them in as little appointments with myself. So that's the key thing, really. If you make an appointment with yourself, then you're more likely to go on and do that piece of work that you need to do. And then the key thing really is to make sure that you stick to it. So commit to sticking to your appointments. So let's just recap. You're going to take all of your actions and you're going to plug them into your diary. You're going to put them in there and you're going to batch them. So you're going to make sure that like actions, so if you've got to email this person and email this other person, it makes sense to do both of those emails at the same time, doesn't it? So it's about batching them together while you've got your email open, get both of those emails done. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. And then the next part is to review your progress regularly. So, every week you can sit down, spend some time looking at where you are against your goals. Have you done the actions that you made appointments with yourself to do? If not, can you get them done right now? If you need to reschedule them, do that, but really commit to yourself that you're going to get those done. If you can't get everything done, you need to start thinking about bringing someone in to help you. Perhaps you need a virtual assistant like I have Sam, who really, really helps me and takes some of the stuff away that I need to do, so that I can focus on the really important part of my business, which is, helping my clients and also bringing in new clients. So if I don't have new clients, I won't have a business. So regular reviews are absolutely vital. Reviewing against your goals and how you're doing, and you should have really specific goals which have measures in there that you can see how you're doing against them. So the third part of that little bit is really to celebrate your success. So when you do achieve one of your goals, or if you do, when you do your actions and you said you were going to do it, give yourself a little pat on the back. Because lots of people won't. Lots of people will tell themselves, oh yes, on Monday I'm going to do this, and then they won't do it. Okay, so if you do it when you said you were going to do it, then give yourself a pat on the back because you've done really well, and know that you've taken a step towards your goal. And you know that because you've planned the whole thing out with on a timeline with post-it notes. So you know that doing that one step that you've just done is a step towards your goal. And if you did it when you said you were going to do it, well, then you're on track to reach your goal when you said you would. So that's how you can make it happen. That's part 3. So let's recap everything we talked about today. We have looked at how to identify what the actions are around your goals so that you know exactly what you've got to achieve, and making sure that you have broken your projects down into proper actions as well, rather than thinking that a project is an action. It's absolutely vital you do that. The second part is about working out when all the actions need to be done. And so we're going to do our big timeline on the wall, and that really helps to make sure that you get everything in the right order, and you can sort of pre-test it and see how it works. And then in the third part, how to make it happen, get it in your diary, stick to it, celebrate your successes, review regularly, and you're going to be really on your way to getting your goals. And I just see there's a comment come in. Hi, Jeanette. Thank you for that. That's brilliant. Some really good tips, she says. So that's good. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So that's what we talked about in all of the 3 parts of this talk. My aim was to show you how to make achieving your goals easier than not achieving them. And hopefully you can see how, if you went through all of that process, it really would be so easy, and not achieving them would be almost like an impossible thing. So time for the call to action that we always have at the end of the video. If you like this video, do please like it and click the like button. And if you're watching on the replay, remember to comment below if you have any questions or anything like that. I will put the link for the worksheet down there in the comments and in the description, wherever that ends up being, where you're watching it. And do please go ahead and download. That's absolutely free. It's 9 pages. There's loads of value in there, and it'll really help you to create your goals to be goals that work, goals that actually work for you. And join me next week, because next week I'm going to be having a goal setting Q&A. If you have any questions or concerns, or things I've confused you with, or things you've tried and you're not sure why they haven't worked, anything like that, then do please join me live and ask me your questions. And I'll also be putting out some posts here and there to gather some questions in advance, so that I can answer those as well for people who can't be on live. So thank you very much for joining me, Jeanette. It's great to see you here. And if you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching. And I will speak to you in the next video. Have a fab day. Bye-bye. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Did you? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. If you liked it, then do please give it a thumbs up so that I know. And if you want more videos like this as well, give it a thumbs up, and so that I know to make more videos. And if you check out the description, I will make sure that I put the link to the worksheet there and the previous video I was mentioning, so that you don't have to go searching for it. And if you have any questions, do of course write them in the comments, and I will come back and reply to you. Anything else? No, I think that's it. So it just remains for me to say to you to have a fabulous, wonderful, beautiful day, and I'll speak to you in the next video.